far as poor financial decisions go, buying an old rusty Japanese car is probably not the best idea to do. So to make that process even harder, just buy one off of Copart that's got a dent in the front. So as you may have guessed, I have bought another Mazda MX-5. My other one is sat way over there somewhere on the drive, but this one is in the garage, and I bought it from Copart, which is why there's a bumper sat there. There's all other bits and bolts down here. That's your bracket for your radiator. But let's actually have a look at the damage here first. We can see this lip. So unlikely that I could maybe get it bent out. I'll have a go before I buy a new bonnet, but if not, spend 25 quid, get a new bonnet. Now, aside from the bit of damage in the bonnet, there also is some quite bad creasing here in the front bar, and same there. And the plastic crash bar is also slightly damaged, so that is something we're going to have to replace. Likely drill out all the spot welds and either re-tack it back in or just use some rivets. Now, a further issue on this car is I don't know how well you can see it down there, but it is looking rather wet, and if we put our finger on it, there's oil. So that's what today's video focus is going to be. I believe the front engine oil seal is leaking. Also, the cam cover gasket is also leaking. So we've got some parts from Autodoc just to go over the engine. We're going to do the timing belt whilst we're at it, because that's also going to basically improve our profit margins on this vehicle. It's going to save someone some money in the future. This car's done 48,000 miles. The belts are rated for 60,000, but it's just another selling point of the vehicle. Now, just to point out some other little issues with this car that we're going to get sorted is, one, the steering wheel. That's not really going to be desirable when selling, so we'll head over to Facebook Marketplace. Same with the gear knob, and just basically get a new one to make the new owner happy. Obviously, it's going to need a bit of a clean. We've got bird poo there, lots of carbon buildup on the wheels, and a big question on these is about the rust on the rear sills. Now, as you can see, that's fairly surface rust in there, nothing too major, so we'll be sorting that out, rubbing it down, applying some rust primer to it just to fight the rust. It's never going to be helped on these. It's the same on the opposite side of the vehicle, but just to basically tart it up and get it ready to sell. So the way we're going to start out with this is we're going to start by removing some of the engine ancillaries, like the intake airbox, the coil plugs, anything else that's really going to get in the way. I'm going to try and do it without removing the radiator, because otherwise that's going to cause some issues like draining it where I'm going to store that. So we'll just try and remove minimal stuff to actually get the job done. What we're actually doing here is moving the banjo bolt, as this is a VVT engine, and this is the oil feed for the VVT. So the next process is actually going to be removing all these 10mm bolts to get the rocker cover off, and then we can start working our way down here, taking the timing belt cover off, because we are also going to be doing that. So basically, I have just removed both the auxiliary belts. I didn't record it because I had no idea what I was doing. So to be honest, I had to watch a video to do it. But we've got that off now. So it's basically just a process of removing some of the pulleys down there, and we'll be able to get the rest of the timing cover off. So after a little bit of struggle, we've managed to get the harmonic balancer slash crank pulley out, whatever you want to call it. And what we need to do now is get the engine at TDC. So you see you have this mark here. It needs to line up with this mark just there. And then you need the eye to line up with this mark. And there's another mark just down at the bottom here, which also needs to line up. So we will get to doing that now. So now what we're going to want to do is slacken off this tensioner here and remove this spring, basically just so we can get the belt off, because as you notice there's a rather large amount of oil around here, so we're going to have to take this off and replace the cam seal that sits behind. So now we have removed this spring in here, we can basically just go ahead and remove this bolt here. So now with our timing belt there on the floor, that's our new one. If we go over and have a look, the old one doesn't actually look that old, but you never know how long it's been on the vehicle. And as this car was bought from Copart, there's actually no receipts with it, so we can't tell when it was done. So we've got a new one anyway. Teeth look good. So once we have sorted out the crankshaft seal just behind there, we will be good to start putting it back together. After a little bit of struggling, we have managed to actually take off the timing belt gear. It felt like it was absolutely seized and stuck on there, but I went to work, took a puller off one of the shelves and basically just slipped it behind it and it popped straight off. I didn't even have to actually use the pulling function. But that is off now and we can get to work on removing that crank seal down there. So to start this off, what you're going to want is a wood screw small enough to screw into the rubber of your crankshaft oil seal. The way we're going to check this is get our brand new crankshaft oil seal, and look, that will screw in there very nicely. So as you can see, I've just drilled a small hole in there basically because you have a metal layer on the inside of these, so it's going to help you getting that screw in there. And yes, I am very lazy. I've just completely tipped the radiator on its side because I can't be bothered to drain the coolant and pull it all out. So in the excitement and rush of wanting to get the car started, I forgot to measure and check this was the right size before I took it off. And as you can now see, we'll slot that on there, and it's not even anywhere big enough to even stretch around the old one. So I've put the old one back in there, and we're just going to have to return this, of course, and get myself the right one. So now we skip a few days, well no, it's probably actually been a week now. We have the correct seal. The garage is turning into a parts bin because we've got the new bumper there, we've got the new bonnet, we've got the new crash braces, and we've got some hinges knocking around somewhere. Don't know where I've hidden them, but it is very, very dirty in here. So well, not dirty, but messy. So we're going to need to move that somewhere so we can roll that back out so we can get to the front of the car. Everything has now been moved, the car is back, we have space to work. Bonnet's over there, which we'll probably be doing either the next video, will it be the next video? I don't know. It's either going to be suspension, cleaning all that up next video, or getting the body panels on and sorting the rust. But we will decide as that comes, because there's the old bumper. It's a bit damaged, and that's just because it's double skinned, it's going to be tricky to repair. It's just going to be a lot quicker to put a new bonnet on, and it only cost me 25 quid. So that's what we'll do. And slip it right in there. actually have the timing belt on now. I just whacked on the tensioner for it down there. But if we look closely, we can see that our timing marks are not where they need to be. It's a top dead center down there, if the camera will focus. There we go. But up there, we're still a bit off, so we're going to have to do some adjustment. So to do this, I have an adjustable wrench, and all I'm going to do is whack it on there like that. And obviously with the belt off, we're just going to turn it and get it in line. As you can see, the belt is on. It's got a little bit of slack in there, but that'll be taken up by that tensioner. But that is not coming off. I had a bit of trouble actually putting the belt on, which is why you didn't see it, because I didn't use a cam locking tool. But everything is all timed up there, as you can see, and down there, so we can move forward with putting it back together. So now, of course, the timing belt is done, we can start getting all the timing covers back on. Now we've got all of the timing covers back on, we can start by putting the harmonic balancer / crank pulley back on. Now everything is back on, we have just topped up the car with some fresh coolant. We've topped it up with some oil, because of course there was a rather large amount on the underside of the vehicle, so we're going to have a go at starting it. The grey one is up and running. Brian is always running. Nothing wrong with this car. 19,000 miles, never let me down. But this next stage is going to be getting some of the bodywork sorted, some of the rust. Hopefully we can get it MOT soon. So thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.